My name is Linda Davis. I run a program called LOOP, Loved Ones of Prisoners. There's two things that I always want to tell people. Whenever somebody calls me or emails me and tells me about a loved one being incarcerated, I always tell them two things. The first thing I always tell them is they're not alone. There are over 51,000 people incarcerated in the state of Ohio. So you're not alone. You feel very alone, but you're not alone. The second thing I always tell people is that God loves them. Right now, you're in the valley, you know, but He's going to walk with you through that valley. He's not going to give up on you, and He'll walk through it with you. We can't change the path sometimes, but He'll walk that walk with us. Loop was started 3 years ago when my son was incarcerated. So when I walked through the Lorain corridors and I walked in this prison for the first time, it was very scary. I was scared, I was nervous, didn't want anybody to see me. And frankly, I was probably in shock. I couldn't even put the quarters in for the lockers because I was so nervous. So I want you to understand, I have walked the walk, and I'm here to try to help it make it easier for you. Well, I guess I should say welcome to Lorain, although it's really not much of a welcome, is it? But I want to let you know that, you know, you can find help here. There are people who will help you and answer questions, okay? Sometimes it's not always the answer you want, but at least they'll be honest and they'll help you get through the situation. What I want you to take from this little video is I want you to have a successful visit. A successful visit means that you get to visit with your loved one and they get to visit with you, and that's the most important thing. To have a successful visit, there's a few things that you have to remember. First of all, as you see these correctional officers walk around here, remember that their job is to protect you and keep you and your loved ones safe. They're going to have a lot of rules and regulations. They're going to tell you to take a number, stand here, to wait for this. Whether you like those rules or regulations or not, that's not important. Follow all rules and regulations to ensure that you're going to have a good visit and you'll have a successful visit. The other things I'd like to tell you about when you have your first visit is to always make sure you bring a quarter. A quarter is for those lockers because you have to be able to put your stuff away. You can't take it back with you. When you first come into the prison, what you're going to do is you're always going to take a number. As you take that number, then have a seat. Then the visiting officer will call you over. He'll review all your documentation, make sure it's all in order. Make sure that your loved one has you on the visitation list is the most important thing. And then make sure that you connect all the dots, such as the woman I was talking to last night. It's a stepfather. So I said, make sure you have your marriage certificate. You always have to connect the dots back to the prisoner. So it's very important you do that. And then after you go through visitation, then what you're going to want to do is probably get a vending card. They have vending machines back there, but you won't be able to take any money back with you. You have to get a vending card. Now this is tricky because what you have to have is a $5 bill and then whatever money you want to put on it. Do all of this before you put your quarter in and lock up your things up, because once your quarter goes in, you cannot bring your money back out again. So you have a $5 bill you're going to put in for this vending card. It's going to put $3 on the card, and then the card will shoot back out again. You put it back in, and then you add whatever money you want to add to it. But remember, that card is only good for Lorain, and you won't be able to use it at other facilities. So don't waste your money. Only put what you think you're going to use on it for that day, okay? The other things that's real important to remember when you're visiting is your dress. Always dress appropriately. If you have holes in your pants, holes in your jeans, you're going to get sent away. If you have clothes that's too tight, you're going to be sent away. If you're showing too much cleavage, guess what? You're going to be sent away. So don't be sent away for that type of stuff, okay? Always dress appropriately and modestly. Something that will help you as you go through your visitation is always make sure that when you come up to Lorain for your visit, after your first visit, get one of these. It's called the Lorain Correctional. It's your family guide, or it's a resource guide. It's going to tell you about some things about the prison. It's going to talk about visitation rules and regulations. Y'all know that when you visit, you can only visit on the day of your prisoner's number, such as if it's an even number, you visit on even days. If it's an odd number, you're going to visit on odd days. Tuesday through Friday are visitation days. unless you are a cadet at Lorraine, and then you'll have other visiting things. But this talks about the vending machines, it talks about the lockers. On the back side, I think this is kind of interesting, and this is the most important thing. Who do I call? Who do I call if my loved one has thoughts of suicide? Who do I call if there's a death in the family? Who do you call? It's all back here. So take this paper home, put it on your refrigerator, and use it as a guide. It also has the warden's number on it, a unit manager's number, a caseworker's number. So this is a pretty important family resource guide. So please make sure that you do get one of these. And these should be available at all prisons in the state of Ohio. If they're not, ask them where they are. I know Northeast Ohio passes them out, but Belmont and Mansfield and all the other prisons are supposed to have these also. So make sure that you do get this, okay? The other thing I want to tell you about, usually up there we have a Loop brochure, okay? It's also going to be up there. You can go ahead and just pick up one of these. As you can see, I'm well color coordinated. So we do purple and yellow. And it gives you my phone number plus our Loop website. And I'm going to talk to you about Loop in just a few minutes. The other thing I want to tell you is, because you are doing something right now that is so far out of your comfort zone and you really don't know what to expect, and you probably feel, as I did, pretty lost. There's two good books out there, and one of them is When I Lay My Isaac Down. It's by Carol Kent. You can go on Amazon.com and you can get these books for $4 a piece, okay? Another good book is her second one, called A New Normal. And they're very good books. When I Lay My Isaac talks about the trials and going through court. A New Normal talks about her life now as her son is doing a life sentence in Florida. She's had to sell her home and move down there. And it talks about all things in your life that starts changing now. Very good books. I would recommend anybody get them. They're both by Carol Kent. So now I want to tell you a little bit about what Loop can do for you. Loop was started 3 years ago when my son was in. I went searching on the internet, for a support group. And I figured there had to be one. I mean, there's support groups for everything, but there wasn't one. So I said, well, I guess I'm going to start one. Didn't know anything about prisons, didn't know anything about prisoners. I've had to learn a great deal, such as the vocabulary. How many people know what a parent institution is? I didn't know what a parent institution. I didn't know what rolling out meant. There's the whole new lingo that we all have to learn, right? In fact, I even learned a thing called kick the bucket or kick the can, There's all kinds of lingos. I needed help. I didn't know what to do. And so I started Loop, Loved Ones of Prisoners, okay? And how we started it and why we started it was just so that we could provide support, guidance, and information. Information is powerful, isn't it? The more you know, the better you can equip yourself for life challenges. And really that's when you have somebody incarcerated, that's what it is a challenge, isn't it? So, Loop was started. We hold meetings throughout the state. You can check our website at www.loopfamilyministry.org. There's my phone numbers here. It's also on my other brochures. It's 330-212-6661. And you can get in touch with me that way. There's no silly question and there's no silly situation. People hurt, and I want to make sure that I'm there for them. I take calls from everybody, I get calls from people whose loved ones have been in for a couple years who say, where were you a couple years ago? And I get people whose loved ones are just going in. So we're there to help support you. One of the things that I always want to tell people is that we meet people where they're at. We're not judgmental. At our Loop meetings, one of the biggest things that we have is, don't tell us why your loved one's in. It's none of our business. You're allowed to have your own dignity and your own privacy, and you don't have to repeat that. What we do is you tell us where they're at or how long they've been in, so we know where you're at in that walk. Something else is that we have people who go to and from together. They will drive to and from together. So, and we've kind of formed this little family. And that's kind of nice that we care about one another. So, Loop is there for you. We will always help you. We're not judgmental. We just want the parents and mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, aunts and uncles to let them know that we care. because they are the forgotten victims. You know, we have a lot of support meetings out there for a lot of things, but nothing for families. The other thing I want to touch base on, and I'm just going to touch base on it real quickly just to tell you, because there are brochures and we can get books to it. It's called Kids in the Loop. One of our mothers, whose son is serving a time, actually they came up with this Kids in the Loop, and it's called Kids of Inmates Deserve Support. Kids deserve support too. And up in Grafton, they're actually trialing where it's a packet of booklets that they can give them. But if you go to the website, and the website is kidsintheloop@yahoo.com. But if you go to that website, you can also get one of these brochures. But the other thing is that they actually will have a book that they will send to the inmate and they will send to a child about having somebody incarcerated. And that's a very nice program. There's a lot of good programs out there for kids. Sesame Street does an excellent program for those who have children who are incarcerated. I hope I helped ease your pain just a little bit today. And if you look at this video, you're probably not going to remember a lot of things I said, because I'm sure I've said a lot of things that either you're doing already or you've got this far, so maybe you've done these things already. But if you take nothing more from this video, just remember, I'm just a mom, and I care about you. And I care about you to the sense that, yes, you are the forgotten victim, and you're trying to hold it together for everybody else, but you know what? Take time for you. And remember Loop, and give me a call or email if you just want to talk, just to have someone to say, it's been a blue day, but you know what? I'm there for you, and so is Loop, okay? I have a lot of mothers and fathers who actually connect with every mothers and fathers, so if you need anything, don't forget you can always call me or go to the website. And once again, the number's 330-212-6661, or the website is www.loopfamilyministry.org. Thank you very much, and welcome to Lorraine. I would like to thank very much, though, Warden Clipper for allowing me to do this video, Linda Briggs, her assistant, who was also very instrumental in doing this. I'd like to thank the whole Northeast Ohio, starting with Todd Ishii and his whole group that work with him, because they're very instrumental in these things happening. But just to let people know that they're not alone, and that we do care. Thank you.